Ethos of Silence.
A veteran podcast aims to amplify the voices of veterans, creating a safe space for authentic conversations about their experiences, challenges, and triumphs. We seek to break the stigma surrounding mental health and foster community support, resilience, and understanding. Through storytelling, expert insights, and candid discussions, we strive to inspire healing, promote awareness, and empower veterans on their journeys.
Welcome. Ethos of Silence, and we're back. I guess we'll jump some more into this book, but Chuck had a question for me, and we jumped into another one of these segments to jump into it because we were at 28 on the last one. What you got, Chuck?
What was your hardest adjustment? When you got out, what was the thing that was like the hardest? Like you had to give it up or had to do something completely new that you weren't used to. What was your hardest adjustment?
Okay, my hardest adjustment. Let's take me back. 2004. I just got out the Marine Corps. We got back from Afghanistan So we got back in 2013 sometime, or maybe the end of 12, beginning of 13 sometime. Let's see, that was an August deployment. Yeah, we got back right before the 13. So I hung around most of 13 at the squadron, thought I was about to take you out, thought the world was my oyster because I just got a fit rep where I was the very top of the Christmas tree when I got promoted to staff sergeant. And then all of a sudden my world starts crumbling around me. I've got a wife that wants to come back to Louisiana to raise our kids and no longer wants the military lifestyle. I've got a daughter who was born in 2010 and a son who was born in 28. We're talking, I got out in 14, so they're young kids. And I've got to choose my career or my family. And that's not actually a choice. You know what I mean? Well, not for me. I was born in a big Italian family, raised up. Family was everything. I'd missed a bunch of life-altering things with grandparents dying, friends dying, family members dying, being on deployments, being across the U.S., being I didn't want to miss any moments with my kids, and I do not regret anything about following them because that has been one of the biggest joys in my life has been my kids. Whenever I reach down to do anything, that's where it is. But it is one hell of a transition to go from being a staff sergeant running a crew of Marines who have, a bunch of sergeants who are trying to figure out their footing. You were one of them at that time trying to figure out their footing and how they're going to be successful and take their next leaps into what they have going on, And we even said, my last month in the Marine Corps, I didn't even show up to work. I stayed on your couch, dog. So I'm already going through this depressive state of where I just wake up and drink and pass back out on your couch. I don't even know what day it is half the time. And that was kind of my lull period before I just came back here, hit the ground working. And I've been working at a plant job for 11 years, same job, going in, day out, working, putting in all the hours, doing all the stuff. Just, I don't know anything else other than put my head down and grind to get through a situation. Dealing with everything mentally. I've had breakdowns. I've talked with therapists. And it's something that's hard to admit as a grown-ass man that I've sat there and cried in front of somebody else, telling them, my life story, telling them what's going on, telling them this, telling them that, and it's not like I'm trying to make them feel sad for me. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on in my head. And there is no answer for what's going on. But the hardest thing I had to do getting out was sucking up and realizing the fact that, I'm not that guy. I'm not the one everybody's coming to, all this other different stuff, all the things I was. And realizing I need to put that energy that made me into this person into what I want to build around me. And the weirdest thing is the fact that you put so much energy, so much time, so much love into something, and it doesn't matter. It relies on other people. So, I love my kids to death. They are smart as can be. I sit around with them and do homework as often as possible and pick their minds about intellectual material and ensure that they know that, hey, look, you're reading this out of a book. Your test is going to be on the book. When you're done with the class, we can have an intelligent conversation about it. But until then, my answer is that book answer, because that book answer is what the test answer is. You know, like, we'll have an intelligent conversation with it when you're done with the course, and you can come away with whatever theory you want. You can argue the book side of that. You can read books. I can read this with you, read that with you, and we can get into it. And that has been amazing to watch them grow and watch them grow. But it is hard to suck up the fact that you're no longer that guy. You're reminded every morning when you wake up with your body aching and all the other different things going on, which is what I said about Tiggs. You know, him joining the Marine Corps at such an older age and going through it, like, I couldn't imagine going through it, you know, when I went out. But then again, you know, like, you've got, I don't know, 6-7 years younger than me. And in that respect, you know, like, right now, you're still earlier on your transitioning from outside the Marine Corps, but you're still young enough to where you don't need a full 8-hour sleep to turn around and put in a full day's work, you know? I mean, I don't quite either. I mean, I can get away with less sleep, but I'm an asshole if I don't. Definitely, you know, because I will sacrifice, and like the Marine Corps taught me this button, and I mean, it was the same way in the Marine Corps, but you can get away with being an asshole in the Marine Corps because you tell people where to go, what to do, when to be there, and when they're not, you lighten them up, makes you look good. You know what? Something that is surprising to me, I need to find somebody who knew Corporal Loucks, because they would tell you some stories that I forgot, but I guarantee you they remember. All right, so I think for me, so before you tell me what you've got going on and what your hardest part of transition was, let me read you a quote that I think kind of stands firmly on what transition is. Brother, you walk through pain most people wouldn't survive. You faced storms, carried heavy burdens, and still found the strength to rise. You don't ask for credit. You don't need applause. Your strength lives in silence, in the way you keep going. When everything tells you just stop. Brother, you're not just strong. You're the reason strength has meaning.
So that kind of resonates with what I was going to say, because my biggest issue is, like you said, I've gotten out. I'm still kind of young enough where I don't need that full 8 hours, and realistically, I got my hands in a lot, and without going too much into it, I don't stop. Right? I don't.
No, we don't have a quit button.
Breaks. I don't. You know. If somebody calls me, and if it's family, if it's friends, if it's whatever, you know, it's just another something to shoulder, you know. I know, because when I first got to Boeing, and I wanted to do such a good job, I worked damn near every day for 6 months. Yeah, you know, in aviation, there's mandatory. You have to like take mandatory days off. I want to say it's like at least 4 days a month. You have to. And I was like consistently hitting that, you know. And I guess in the civilian world, you know, things move so much slower versus the military. You said in the last episode, you know, you didn't have time when you were fixing a plane to, you know, go back and maybe double check your work, right? It had to be fixed the first time, and it had to go on in a mission and whatnot. And
well, I mean, it's not the fact that you double check your work. I mean, that's the whole reason we have the CDI and the everything drawn out the way the military does versus the way the civilian world does, right? So the civilian world working on planes, you've got multiple layers and multiple stuff. But in the military, to expedite those layers, you have a collateral duty inspector, or what I like to call a big kid, who comes and checks behind your work and makes sure that, hey, look, you're doing everything right, you're doing everything wrong, what's going on, and kind of helps and guides you in where your mistakes were, or helps you with the different things, because they're working on everything, but you're the hands doing it, you know. And they kind of mold you into becoming that person and being able to look at that stuff. But in the process of doing that and looking at that, you also learn, you know, once you've done something, it's like doing it a million times over. You know, like the first time you go out there to change the oil on your brand new truck, it is going to take you a little while, and then you're going to learn, hey, look, if I have this tool and this tool and this extension and this tool, I can get to exactly what I need, and it's done. But it's the knowledge of working on that type model series on that platform, doing that job over and over again. And that repetition brings speed with everything that comes with it. So, I mean, yeah, it is crazy to go from being the guy to then being in the civilian world, and there just everything works differently. I hear you.
Yeah. I mean, it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment for sure. Still trying to figure it all out day by day. But it seems like that plate that you have, right? It just never gets smaller, right? And your problems, you know, never go away.
So the best thing, and a therapist gave me this advice, and I'm sure I've said it a million times in the podcast, and I'll keep repeating myself, because the things that work for me might work for somebody else. And this might be the one little clip it they hear it, or it might be the 1,000th time I've had to scream it to the heavens for you to hear it. All right, so I had a therapist who told me to sleep with a notebook by the side of the bed because I was having trouble going to bed, right? And I was like, look, there's all this shit that's got to be done. All this stuff at work's got to be done, and my bosses are stupid. All of this stuff's got to be done, and this is happening. All of this stuff's got to be done, and, you know, like my grandma needs this done, and the gutter's cleaned, and all this stuff done, and, you know, I got to do the maintenance on her house, and I got to do the maintenance here, and, you know, if somebody calls, I need to drop everything, because everything can wait, because it's in the notebook, and I need to take care of what they said, unless it can be taken care of later, you know. And they tell me, write it all down. You know, like, what do you mean? Like, write it down. If it's written down in your notebook, you don't have to go over it in your head. It's like, what? Like, yeah, if it's in your notebook, you know, you take care of it. Just put in the shit Loucks is going to do. Oh, so just make me a list of shit Loucks is going to do? Yeah. I mean, who cares? Put a name on every page that you're going to help, and then just write what you did to help them, and put a date next to it. And you know when the date next to it is that day you did it, you know? And that way, if you need to take any notes, if you need to bring anything back, whatever, it's all right there. You know, you're like, oh, cool, I'm going over there. I'll make sure I got all this stuff. Got it. It's like, huh. But it actually helped because it got everything out of my head on the paper, and I would trust myself to knock it out and do it. And I don't have a stop button. You know, like my day off, I'd sit around and like, I finally need to edit some podcasts and do some other different stuff like that, but I don't have a stop button. I don't have a quit button. I'd rather, you know, make a plant stand on a day off than just chill and not do anything. And it oh yeah. I mean, with my sidekick, of course.
I almost go crazy when I don't have something to do. Like taking a day off resting. What is that?
Yeah, well, so in that, what we need to do is find hobbies that are good for us. You know, like we find our self-time in going to the gym and working out. And for other people, that might be a day off. But for me, the fact that I actually get a chance to go and hit the row machine for like an hour and watch, you know, an episode of The Simpsons that I've seen a million times, you know, and do the row machine like that. I might be a day off of work, but I mean, that's a day for my body to recover and my body to feel good, you know, or like getting a chance to actually go sit in the sauna or do something along that's not actually like a day off per se, because I'm still being active, still doing stuff. We're not saying, you know, your day off, so you got to be a couch potato, but we're saying, you know, take time for you. And sometimes time for you might be the fact of taking your girls to a theme park, right? Or going somewhere with them, or bringing them to the beach even though you don't like the beach. You know, like, it's doing something for other people that kind of refills your tank, right? And I think that's also something that gives us a really, really good feel for what we did. You know, like, we had this calling. We had a calling, and I mean, the calling almost feels like, you know, a voice of God telling you that, wondering, you know, like, who should I send? What should go on? There's scripture. I don't like scripture, but I'll read some. I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Who shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here I am, send me." You know, that's comes full circle to, like, our calling to join the military and jumping in, going full-fledged, not quite knowing what we were getting into, you know, or our mom coming down to recruiter and saving us and making sure we're not going infantry, and us joining the military. But us joining, and it's just like, you know, somebody's got to go. Why not me? I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm young. I'm able to do it all. Send me. And it started this entire cycle of us wanting to do and serve. And sometimes going and help mama do what mama needs done is what I need to do to refill my tank, to feel like I'm a grown man. You know, it's what helps me balance everything, is helping others, right? And sometimes that's where these veteran service organizations come in, and sometimes that's where they fall short, because sometimes it feels like you're helping others, and then other times when you go out there and you raise money for them and different stuff like that, then you see where the money goes. It makes you feel more like they're not helping others, they're kind of like helping themselves, and like, I've got more than enough time to go and help people I know need help. I definitely don't need to help a big corporate organization that doesn't need my time. So it's a delicate balance of where you're going to put your time to kind of refill your tank. Have you found anything that you do that kind of refills you, that recharges you, that does that? You know, because, like, we are so engaged at just jumping in and taking care of what has to be taken care of and taking care of others, right? And like I was saying, taking care of others sometimes refills me and helps me do better at taking care of myself. But have you found anything that you do that, like, recharges you? And I don't care if it's working out. I don't care if it's stuff with your girls. I mean, like, what are the things that recharges Chuck?
One of the biggest things is shooting. And I haven't been able to go on shooting in such a long time. Shooting definitely has always been something that, if I'm talking strictly just for me, and I have, you know, other hobbies, but like shooting is just kind of one of those things I can just do for myself and by myself, and it just it's nothing, but it just pours in to me. You know, I have family, they need me, my girl needs me, you know, my kids need me. And I'm here for them always, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but realistically, like, shooting is the one thing I can do for myself, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, spending time with my loved ones, yes, that helps. You know what I mean? That's in a different kind of way. If we're talking just purely something for myself, selfishly, just it'd probably be shooting.
Huh. So what about shooting kind of brings you that Zen moment? Is it just the raw power of sitting there and having a weapon in your hand? I mean, what about shooting kind of brings all that together? I mean, I know we were big into playing video games. I haven't picked up video games since I don't know when, other than to, like, play a couple rounds with my son, and it's more for him to carry me and us to spend time together, you know?
Yeah. I think for me, like, I easily get distracted with the problems in people's lives, people that I care about, you know. And I will forget whatever it is that I had to do, you know, because
that's where that notebook comes in handy, man. I know we love taking care of others before we take care of ourselves, but man, self-care is so hard, you know. And it brings me to this one quote I'm staring at, man. If we were to take ourselves back to that place, you know, the place when we got out, the place when we were lost, the place when we were dealing with all these hardships, that place where you had no hope, you know, like you had no idea. I want you to remember how far you came since then, right? How far we traveled, everything we put in. Why did we come this far to only come this far? Why have we come this far to give up now? To stop pushing, to stop doing what we do, doing what we know is effective. Like, if we know that we recharge ourselves by going to the gun range, why have we been so long and deprived ourselves of that satisfaction for so long when that is the one thing I do for me that actually like resets me? You know, like if I've come this far, and I know that's the one thing I need to reset, is once every 6 months, you know, I need to take a me day. I need to go to the range. I need to shoot. I need to just go, load up, blow through 100 rounds of ammo, clean my weapons, make sure they're all good, make sure everything's good, blow through 1,000, blow through 2,000 rounds of ammo, you know, blow $1,000 in a day on myself after all the shit I've done, all the stuff I put up with, all the miracles and missions I save and everything I got going on. Why do I not take this time, you know? And I mean, is it selfish to create this window for myself? I mean, it feels that way. It definitely does, because all the problems in the world are going on. But if you don't take care of, if you don't go to work to be able to pay your car note and put gas in the car, then there's no gas and no vehicle to go help whoever needs whatever they need when they need it. You know what I mean? So, like, we understand the importance of the financial aspect of going to work and making money and figuring out how we can upgrade ourselves in a way to make more money, to pay more bills, and figure all that other different stuff out. But why is it so hard for us to figure out how to take care of that self-care aspect so we don't actually go backwards when we've come this far?
I think it's because you know, we keep telling ourselves, okay, well, when everything else is taken care of, when everyone else is taken care of, then I can take care of me, right? It's like we just keep going, running on fumes, running on empty, because like when I go to the range, the thing I like about shooting, and it's probably not even like just the shooting, and I'm looking down the scope. I have I'm looking down the scope of my rifle. I'm looking at a target that's off 200 yards, and all I can think about, right, because it's hitting center mass. So then, you know, once that happens, then it's 300 yards. And the further out that I shoot, the more I seem to focus. And I got the headphones on, and I just, all sound is blocked out. I don't got no music playing. I don't got no phone calls from, you know what I mean? Nothing. And that's my 45 minutes to an hour me time. But to get to that, you know, it's like, well, I got all this other stuff that needs to get taken care of, and I keep making excuses. And like you said, we just keep going. Yeah. I hear you. We do keep going, no matter what the case, no matter what the cause. It's weird how we do that. It really is, you know. But we've come to a place. And we understand so much life around us, and we understand so many things that go on in our world to where, you know, so we know pain is temporary and quitting is permanent. A Marine's never going to quit anything. We're going to struggle through whatever pain is sent our way, right?
We know that easy paths normally lead to hard places. Nothing ever comes easy in life, and hard paths lead to worthwhile places. Normally, whenever I take the time to study, I do good on the test. When I take the time to dedicate the X, Y, and Z, if I go into something well prepared, I normally come out pretty victorious every time, So with those two being said, we need to pick our hard, because there's no reason to do something and make life harder than what it already is. There's already enough very, very difficult moments to deal with in life. I'm talking to somebody who's lost his father. I've lost my father, and those are very, very difficult moments in life. And there's things you can do that make your life harder, and things you can do that make your life easier. There's things you can do that make life harder for your kids and make life easier for your kids. The fact of you sitting down today and doing homework with your girl definitely made life easier with her, with the fact that having somebody else to bounce all this stuff off of versus telling them just go to their room and figure it out. You got enough technology, you can watch some videos on YouTube, you can figure it out. Or I can help you figure it out, and we can struggle through this little bit of pain together, but with us actually learning it, it was hard to do, but it's worthwhile in the end, because now you know how to do it. It's nice and simple, and you know it. Once you know something, it's about like all your knowledge on the aircraft and knowledge with work and knowledge with everything else. Hey, it was a hard path to learn it. It was a hard path. You had this asshole yelling and screaming at you. It was a hard path to learn how you learn things, right? But you've done it, and you're there, so now you know where to put in the work to make places worthwhile. So why do we choose the easy path on things? Why do we continue to fall into those traps? What do you think it is? What do you have going on? What is saying all that jump out at you?
I think we take the easy path because we feel like we're running out of time, or we have this preconceived notion that we're supposed to be further than we really are. I can't tell you how many times I get frustrated because I feel like I'm not where I need to be. So if I push a little harder, work a little more, pick up an extra shift, like that'll be the extra shift, right? That'll be the one that gets me recognized.
Man. That extra $1,000 is what's going to change your life. I wish it only came so easy.
Somebody was telling me the other day how like they would wish they would like get hit by like an Amazon truck or something like that, so they could sue and get millions of dollars. And I was thinking to myself for a minute, and I was like, how easy would that be? But at the same time, how dumb of desires that you're gonna put yourself at risk, for what amounts to, at the end of the day, a couple bucks, because what if that's the crash that kills you,
Yeah, no, I mean, so, why would you put your life at risk for that little amount of what you think would be comfort? I mean, let's speak honestly, okay, so let's say that you only make $50,000 a year, right? How long spending $50,000 a year would you blow through that $1 million if you just sat down, didn't improve anything, and just made that $50,000? 20 years, that's gone. Like, are they really going to do what's smart with that $1 million and not touch a penny of it and put it away in an IRA and live off $30,000 a year? Even though that would be earth-changing different, financial wealth for their family coming off forever. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to live off a measly 3% of $1 million. Like, oh, well, I'll buy myself a house first and all this other different stuff. And then, we look at this number like it's, an earth-saving number, $1 million. And I get it. Maybe back in the day, $1 million was worth a lot more, and it should be. But, I mean, honestly, right now, I've got a lot of stuff to show for my life. I got a lot of amazing things. I wish I had more, but I have more than most, so I should be extremely grateful. And I guess that's about where I could leave that statement off. But, you know, like the amount of money I make, like, and I blow through money like it's water. $1 million would disappear the next day, and I'd still be in a crippling shape of getting hit by an Amazon truck, you know? Like, even if I stopped everything today, or even if you stopped everything today, what's $1 million going to do? Get you maybe 10 years down the road? I mean, 10 years down the road, I'm not ready to retire. You know, like, it's not going to increase anything else I got going on. I don't know. I don't think it'd make that. And I guess my mind just works differently than other people's at that aspect, and them wanting to do that. You know, like that $1 million, and I mean that's also the easy way out. You know, like, who wants to take the easy way out? Everybody wants to take the easy way out, but it never pays off. Not with just $1 million, because $1 million on the backside of it, what's a lawyer going to take? If they bring you to law, if they bring you to court, they'll take 66%. If not, they'll take 33%. And then by the time you pay taxes on your money, you're like, okay, I've got $250,000. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Buy me a house, and now I've got to live after getting ran over by an Amazon truck?
Yeah. I mean, I guess really what I want, and I think everybody wants this, especially in the way the times and things are now, you know, we all want like a little bit of land, a house, room for all our kids, you know, and I just want to be able to live my life and be able to protect my family and care for them and get the things that they want. And I'd be willing to work hard for it, you know what I mean? I'd be willing to, you know, work 6 days a week, 7 days a week, whatever it took. If I knew, you know, that's what I would get. I don't want it easy, because, you know, easy come, easy go. You know, I work hard. I would work hard for it, but you come to work and you surround yourself with people, and everyone's trying to get rich quick. Everyone's trying to sue somebody or trick somebody, or like you said, screw somebody else over so they can get ahead. And it's sickening some days.
Yeah, it is. I hear you. Well, that's definitely the wrong message to try and leave off on. That's definitely a down note. You got any final words of wisdom? And maybe I can pick us back up, and we can start over with something a little more upbeat.
Well, I'll say this: be better. Be better. You know, just go ahead and do unto others what you'd want them to do to you, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, man. leave the place a better way than you found it. You know, that's a good one, dog. That's a good one. Iron sharpened iron. We'll be right back.
We now have a moment of silent prayer for those still in the battle, for our departed comrades, for those missing in action, and for those held as prisoners of war.